Hello, denizens! Welcome back to the Dire Penguin Show. I'm alive! Yes, indeed. And this is my opportunity to tell you guys what all has been going on. This is Nostalgia Night, where we go back, we play an old game, and run it through its paces, see if it holds up to modern standards, and just enjoy ourselves. Kick up our feet, relax, and enjoy ourselves. And it's a lot less, professional, I guess. Not that I'm really all that professional anyway, but this is my opportunity to just completely break out a character or completely go off topic and rant to you guys about whatever. Well, I need to tell you guys what's been going on with the channel because obviously, if you're familiar with the channel, you'll notice there's been a pretty big gap. Not only have videos been slowly decreasing over time, the rate at which I've been putting them out, they pretty much stopped for a while. I think I got one video out in 2 weeks. And now, granted, that was a pretty big video. It took me a while to put that together, and it actually took me 4 takes to get that video. That's more due to my own incompetence than anything, but it happened. Yeah, so this is NOX that we're playing here in the background. I'm just going to run through the initial stuff here. It's the opening level of the Tombs of Valor. And we're checking here for necromancers to see if they've taken over or anything of the sort. And see if there's any signs of them. Because, of course, if there's a necromancer, they're going to come to massive battleground where all the heroes are buried, right? So, it makes sense. But, the first level, the opening level here, we're just fighting like bats and stuff. It's no big deal. So while that's going on, I'm going to tell you about what all happened. Whoo boy. They say trouble comes in threes, and let me tell you, it did for me. Work got a little bit crazy. I was pulling 80-hour work weeks for a couple weeks there. That has now completed, but for several weeks, I was working every moment I had, and knowing that the channel was going to start suffering, I decided to take a half day one day, and I was going to fit in like 8 hours of recording. I had the house to myself. It was going to be great, and that morning, I started getting some hardware blue screens. Couldn't really explain it, but didn't have a chance to check it out before I had to go to work. So I went into work and worried about it a little bit, but went ahead and came home. And yeah, still getting blue screens. I checked the smart tags on my hard drives. They were fine. Couldn't explain it, so I went ahead and started up in safe mode, and it was okay. I was able to scan all the hard drives. But that took 25 hours to scan the hard drives. I have a lot of hard drive space in this computer. I need it to store the recordings. But that took 25 hours to scan the hard drives. Now, all that aside, that 8-hour window, I didn't get it. I couldn't keep the computer stable during that time. I think it was all down to kind of an audio driver gone nuts. A couple days before, I don't know why it had taken that long to manifest, but a couple days before I had installed a audio driver that lets you add some virtual audio devices to your computer, which is really neat. It allows you to apply plugins and things like that, and then have that show up as an audio device to Windows. But I guess my copy of Windows did not like it. I have no idea. Really can't explain it. Okay, so then after that, my internet connection died. Just died. We didn't have phone service, we didn't have internet service, and it was dead. That lasted for a couple days, then that got fixed, and it was still horrifically bad. I wanted to post up a video that, even if it was just like 10 seconds, just be like, hey guys, my internet connection died, I'll have something for you soon, but I couldn't even do that. It was so bad. Even just pinging the DNS, 63% loss. It's now sorted itself out, and now, I get 0% or 0 packets lost after, half an hour or more of pinging away at the DNS. So that's, a lot better. But it meant that I really couldn't upload much. I mean, the internet connection was just horrifically slow anyway. And so you guys didn't get any videos, and I apologize for that. I haven't really had the opportunity. I was planning on recording the first 4 or 5 episodes of Star Sector in that 8-hour window, and that said, we should be over all that. My deadline's passed, my computer's stable again, the internet's stable, and next week my wife will return to normal schedule, and I will get some more recording time. Alright, so we pretty much cleared out this first level of the dungeon here. And I haven't been doing anything too exciting. Just a few secrets here. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and get a really, really fun spell. This is my favorite spell in the game, right here. This is Meteor. Meteor. Just the name of it sounds fun. We're going to move this over to spell set 1. No way we're going to have that on anything else. And when you cast this, it just brings down Giant Meteor, wherever your cursor is. And this is the Conjurer's bread and butter, even more so than the creatures, I feel like. And we're going to have an opportunity to use it here in a few minutes, because this is where the Tombs of Valor changes. Now we've dropped down a level. We can't get back up to the shopkeeper. We can't get out of here. And of course, now we're going to run into some necromancers. So I'm just going to change out to Meteor here in our trap set, because pixies have a little bit of, not a bug, but in this game, if you have your 3 pixies or whatever, if multiple of your traps die at once, you can't ever go over that limit, and it counts toward your limit. So it's really weak to have a bunch of traps all using pixies, or any other summoning over time, you know, anything that's going to have some sort of effect that's going to keep up a number over time. Okay, so these are little crypts here, and there's plenty of skeletons and ghosts in these. Oh, there's one. We can just beat him down. And you don't have to break all of these. It's really kind of bad, because if you're gonna go around whacking these crypts with your, here it's a staff, you don't get very much out of them, and instead it just damages your weapon. Now that really doesn't matter, because we're gonna get other weapons that are way better than our wacky staff here, but it's a thing. Be very aware that by the time you leave this dungeon, whatever weapon you're using is probably gonna be like ridiculously damaged. But, we're still going to do it. We get experience from these guys, and you do get some treasure. We could be picking up all these swords and shields that these skeletons are dropping, but really all that does is fill up your inventory and you don't get very much from it. What I'd rather do is kind of just skip them all until the very end of the dungeon, and then grab a whole bunch at once, fill up my inventory, and instead of having to deal with, inventory management all the way through this run. Because you guys don't really want to see that. So the guy here in this chest is a bigger version of a skeleton. It's going to give you a little bit of a heads up of what is going to be coming. Oh, did not mean to click that, but yeah, meteors are fantastic, as you saw there. There's a reason they're my favorite. The wizard doesn't actually get meteors, and that's kind of a shame. They rely on lightning a lot more, which is they don't have to aim. But the meteor does a lot of damage. It rewards, I don't know, skill-based play? I'm not going to claim I have lots of skill here, but if you can hit meteors, you're going to have a lot easier of time. Now, they do cost a fair amount of mana, but over the course of the game, you're going to get more items that will give you more mana and increase your mana regeneration, so not a big deal. I'm just going to meteor that spider over there. Okay, so I was mentioning that I was looking into this audio program that would allow me to I guess, edit the audio in real time. And there's a very good reason for that. I speak with a very heavy drone. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the way your voice works is your vocal cords vibrate to produce sound. That's not really how you form sounds. It's just, or how you form words and things like that. But your vocal cords vibrate to generate sound, because you have to have something generating the sound. If you just breathe out and don't use your vocal cords and instead just shape your mouth, obviously you're not going to form words. It's the use of your vocal cords that allows you to do that. So what happens is the air moving through your vocal cords causes vibrations, which then move up into your mouth, and then your mouth shapes those. Well, I speak with a very heavy drone. My vocal cords vibrate at pretty much all the time. When I'm talking, they don't really stop. There's no, my vocal cords are not providing any distinction between the words. So my voice does not come across clearly when using the microphone. Now that's a problem I could probably start working on addressing, and I have. But what it does mean, combined with the fact that my voice is actually pretty deep, you guys probably can't tell that because I use a lot of equalization to amp the higher ranges of my voice up. My voice probably sounds, maybe not quite as nice quality as other people's, but it probably sounds normal pitch. And that is because I am amping the, I guess the normal speaking range of most people by 12 times, I think. No, 8 times. Compared to where I am the low range. So, if you were to map your voice, there's particular spikes where the audio wave function will have natural spikes. If you do a spectrum map of my voice, there's this huge, overwhelming spike far lower down. And so I don't amplify that at all, and instead I'm amping the higher ranges by like 8x relative to the low range of my voice. One of these days I'll actually let you guys hear what my voice normally sounds like. It is totally different than what you guys normally hear. I don't have, a deep bass voice here, but I do have a voice that doesn't carry through clearly on a microphone. So for me, someone who relies a fair amount on audio equalization and noise gates and compression and all that to get good sounding audio, it'd be really nice for me to be able to hear that when I'm doing my audio monitor. Okay, my guy's confused here. He can't walk straight. That is the effect of using a mushroom to cure poison. Apparently you get confused. Don't try it in real life, folks. The real effects are far worse. The entire shutting down of all the organs in your body. That sort of thing. Yeah, I have that type of mushroom growing right around here. Anyway, so the ability for me to... Oh, hey, check that out. That guy knew enough to raise his shield so he didn't get hit with an arrow, but he didn't know enough to actually come after me. That's bad game programming. If your guy reacts enough to raise his shield to stop an arrow, he can come after you. Okay, so... right, my voice, right. So, the ability for me to monitor that in real time, basically what you guys would be hearing. Not only does that save time, because then I don't have to do that audio processing afterwards, although I do it with Audacity, and I have my filters saved, so I use a couple different filters depending on which microphone I'm using, and depending on just what sounds better, depending on where I'm placed near the microphone and that sort of thing. So I have it definitely automated. I guess what I'm just trying to get at is it would be really nice for me to be able to hear, through monitoring, what you guys are hearing, rather than, this very different sounding voice. It allows me to hear, not only would it allow me to hear just what did and did not come through clearly if I need to repeat something, but also, if there's something that's been noise gated out or something like that, or, oh gosh, they heard me burp on the camera or on the record or whatever. I can be like, oh, I need to re-record that audio segment, that sort of thing. It happens, believe it or not. But, so it'd be really nice, and it would be really handy to be able to have that. But obviously, if my computer doesn't like it, then, forget that, right? I'd rather have my computer functional than clear audio. So that was kind of the motivation for that, and that didn't work out. If you guys have any experience with that, if you guys have set it up, if you know what I was experiencing, feel free to let me know, but I have to admit that I just went back to before I had that, and I have not pursued it. I just left it alone. Maybe that'll be something I can pursue another time, but for right now, I don't rely that heavily on the monitoring. Instead, I just re-record audio in post. That does actually happen some on my more professional videos. Doesn't really happen on these videos. These videos here, I just kind of do on the fly. And I'm actually doing post-audio here, you can probably tell. And the reason for that is, well, I needed to get something to you guys. And it's going to be another week before I get any standalone time to do the recording. So, this is post-audio. Normally, Nostalgia Night isn't, but today it is. And, hey, that's okay. So, if I peek through these doors here, you can actually see that's the main villain in the game, right there. You might have seen it. No, not him. That guy's just a baldy. That woman right there, she's the main villain in the game. Her name is Hecuba, and she is a necromancer. Now, I have snuck into this room, and they don't actually know I'm here. And I think... Can I shoot this guy? No. No, there appears to be some sort of... Yep, there's some sort of barrier. Okay, so... I'm just going to walk forward and trigger her. I don't actually remember. This was about 3 weeks ago that I recorded this. So, I don't really remember what I did. Which is one reason I've been speaking so much about other things.
Mindless zombies. You will obey me and only me, for I am your one and only master. What? Hey, you fools! Obey me! Obey me! Damn!
Akiba, beware. Human eyes are upon us.
What strange sorcery allows a human to be here undetected? To steal my orb? Never! You shall die in this tomb, then join the ranks of my invincible undead legions.
It will be your honor to serve, Hecuba human. But first...
Okay, and here they make the first mistake of all villains in every movie, game, book, ever. When they encounter the hero in this story, they just ignore them and they send out their little trusted lackey to handle it, So you can just chase this guy around, whack him a bunch. He does actually have fireballs, which he will use if you get further away. He has both homing ones, which are pretty powerful, and he has straight shot ones, which are enough to actually kill you pretty much outright. I don't think you can actually survive a direct hit from this guy. So, there's a reasonable expectation that this guy would be able to kill you. But as long as you keep moving around, he'll probably miss you. Alright, so now that we've taken care of this trash, we're going to see a lot more of the undead in this dungeon. There's going to be a lot of zombies and skeletons, and their hand is shown, so now you run into a lot more of the signs that the necromancers are indeed active. I guess they were reasonably well hidden before, but now we have found proof. Now we just have to survive, so we can go back to the airship captain and tell him, yes, in fact, the necromancers have returned. So the way zombies in this game work are, they're individually pretty weak. They're pretty slow. They don't actually hit you for all that hard, but they don't die when you actually kill them unless you burn them. So we can either use a meteor or we can use our flame spell. So if I just stand here and wait for this guy, eventually, taking long enough, he will just stand up and he'll be back at full health and we'll have to kill him again. It does happen. Okay, here we go. Now you'll notice there a meteor does in fact take care of it. So I'll be relying on them pretty heavily, but if we don't have enough mana, we'll have to rely on the burn spell, which just puts a little flame wherever your cursor is, like that. Very nice particle effects there, given the time. Okay, so this dungeon is really, really long, and I'm just going to kind of go through this pretty quickly, but it's a long dungeon, and in fact, it's long enough that when we would play as children, my sister would just say, here, you play it, because I could run through it pretty quick, and it just slogs on and on and on and on, and it drills in, I guess, the point that, these necromancers are racing the dead. But it's a little unnecessarily long. It's definitely one of the longer segments in the game, and it doesn't really reward you for that. You aren't going to get a lot of gear or anything. It's just long for the point of being long. And we're actually going to break that up into 2 episodes. I'm probably going to stop here in a few minutes. Go ahead and edit this video and get it up to explain what on earth has been going on with the channel, why you guys haven't seen anything from me in a while, and then we'll come back and we'll actually finish it up probably next week or so. Hopefully with a little bit better news regarding the channel. Hopefully there will be a few other videos on the channel. I don't know if I'm going to get any recording time in before next week. I do have some audio recorded for Star Sector Season 1. I've got some really neat ideas. I'm pulling in some music and some voiceover work into that one. We're going to add a little bit more story to it. Not make it heavily story-driven here or anything. Not over the top. The main episode is going to be, regular gameplay. But I think at the beginning of each episode, I'm going to have some sort of story segment that either recaps what happened in the previous week or just adds some sort of overarching story or drama to what's going on. Just for fun. Not really to do anything really meaningful to the game. Just have fun with it and do something a little bit different that we didn't do in the last episode or the last season. We played the game, now we're playing it with mods. I just like to do something a little bit on top of, wow, let's look at this ship from, this mod or whatever that we're going to wind up doing with the mods. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to see if I can get the zombies to fall on these traps, because I don't have much mana at this point. So I'm going to try to see if I can't kill as many as possible. Oh, I missed. as many as possible on this little pad here. And the reason being is this pad will keep them dead, because every time one of them starts rising, this fist is going to come down from the sky, and I can just slowly burn the zombies one by one. I have enough mana for that, so there we go. Clever way of handling it if you don't have enough mana. What other games would you guys like to see for Nostalgia Night? You know, I've been picking my brain to think of other games, because, you know, NOX is fun, but, you know, it isn't strategic. You guys have seen a lot of the gameplay, and yeah, we're going to see some other monsters, we're going to see some more of the story unfold, but really this game isn't that deep. It's just, there's not a lot to say about the game. It is what it is. It's an action RPG. It's old, it's held up reasonably well, but, you know, it's an action RPG, and there's not any depth to, you know, the build that we're going for. It's not like a roguelike where, you know, we have heavy strategizing. Instead, this is, you know, the depth of strategy here is going from one mana crystal to the next, you know? So what else would you like to see on the channel? I've got some ideas for some other games that I can want to do. Stretching back to my childhood, Raptor called The Shadows. I want to see if I can get that running. I might have to Dropbox that one. Not Dropbox. That's something else. DOSBox that one. I'm not sure. I'm still thinking about what I want to do there. There's also Stars! Exclamation point. Which is another game from my childhood, although I only had the shareware version growing up, and since then I've found that you can still get the main game, and there's still people who play that game. In addition, Supreme Commander. You know, that game's not all that old, seemingly, but it was actually 9 years ago. It came out in 2007. I would actually be taking a look at the Forged Alliance forever, but, you know, that's another game where I just, you know, I really enjoy it. And that game has held up so well. I want to show that off on the channel. It's a fantastic game, and there's still a huge community playing the game, although not through the original means. There's actually a client, and there's, you know, still tons of people playing that. These are some of my ideas, but for now, I think we're just going to call it, and then we'll come back next week with another episode, probably of NOX, just because I don't think I'll have time to get another game set up. And we'll go ahead and finish up the Fields of Valor. After that, we'll see if we continue with it or not, just because at this point it's dragged on for 2 months now, and, you know, I think you guys might be ready for something else, whatever. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, and thanks for putting up with the delay and the content on the channel. I am trying to get the videos up now, but I hope you guys can understand the delay that occurred. We'll see you all next week. Thank you very much for watching. Dire Penguin out.